Well, hey, welcome back, guys. Today's episode video playtime is a little different. I've been banging my head into all these walls here, trying to figure out what's wrong with my transmission. I have the TKX, and I wanted a hydraulic throwout bearing because I'm getting old, and I like my knees. So I got the Silver Sport Transmissions GMA2 hydraulic. I got that thing. Lo and behold, when I hit my clutch pedal, it does not release the clutch. Pressure plate is not fully depressing. Like I didn't have enough travel or something. And I did some video and looked in through the little hole and can see that it's traveling and it's extending all the way. So you can see here that just on this outside lip here, it completely smoked this clutch, right? So that was the part that's dragging and not disengaging. And you can see that a little better on the outside here. So much so that it left me some hot spots because it's just spinning right here. And I start playing with the throwout bearing and I'm squeezing it. And, if this is how much travel, how big the throwout bearing is, I'm squeezing to like here and it's stopping. That's odd. Here's my bearing. And when you just compress it, well, that's all you get. Well, that's not going to happen. So since I couldn't get it to bleed correctly, I assumed that my math that I did prior was off. And maybe I just needed that another quarter of an inch. I think the spacers are a quarter of an inch, so I ordered another spacer, hoping that would help it, get where it needed to be. That was not the case. My problem was I wasn't bleeding it correctly. There was still a huge air bubble in that system. And today we're going to be putting this transmission back in by myself, and I'm going to show you how not to do it. Well, after 2 ratchet straps, a jack stand, and a whole lot of frustration later, got the transmission installed. That was fun. So when you're putting these in, you gotta, have your bell housing on with the throwout bearing already in there, and then line up the transmission first through the throwout bearing, which has the center hole and the indexing hole at the top. And then wiggle your way in there, like prom night, find that hole and stab the trans, and hopefully you're twisted just right so that the input shaft lines up with the clutch. So I got all those things done now. So my little ratchet strap method seemed to help me out because I don't have a trans jack and it's just me. So one strap and holding the front transmission, one strap holding the back, and it kind of got them to where it just about lined up, and then boom, took me all day. Finally got it in there by myself. This particular throwout bearing has a specific way they want you to bleed it. They don't want you to do the pump, 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 and then open and bleed. They want you to just push the pedal and have it open right when you push the pedal to push the air out. And I don't know if you've seen my other videos or whatnot, but I had the boy doing it, I had the wife doing it, and it took us 2 days and still didn't get a good pedal. Still had a bubble in there. My first method here is pretty scientific. This is my bleeder. I got a set of hose coming off of it, and hose is stuck down here in the fluid, and the bottom end is submerged in that fluid. So I'm going to crack the bleeder open and cycle the pedal a few times, and we'll see what happens. And make sure you keep the reservoir full. All right. Here we go. Get this pedal to push. See if I can do this with both hands. There you go. Let's see the bubbles coming out. I'm going to let go. Be sucking fluid back in through the hose. That's 3 pumps. Let's go up and check the top. Still got some fluid in there. Let's keep going. A little bit each time. Now that's done, you can close the bleeder. Check the pedal feel. Can you feel it? Feels nice and stiff. What you say? Just to make sure we're not binding. Here's to have good throw. Pedal comes up past the brake pedal here, so I think we're gonna be pretty good. Things to fill up the transmission and try it out. Is that all the way in? Yep. Let it out. Do it again. Well, time to get the fluid filled. I'm using the synchro mesh, and also got to put some juice in the rear too. Yeah. So anyway, let's get this filled up and then we'll get fired up. Well, that's been a year-long waiting to happen. There she is. And I don't mean the dog, but I finally got it to move under its own power after a year. You guys can remember what this thing looked like when it came in. It was definitely not this. I definitely did not have that in there. Idling away all pretty. Well, there's a rag soaked with brake fluid down there. It's good to catch this thing on fire. Probably should move that. I don't think I want to burn this down today. Ooh, that was close. Pretty happy with that. Figured out this transmission was a conglomerate of things that were bad. I had a pressure plate that was different than it needed to be. It was 30 thousandths too tall, which messed with my alignment, wouldn't let the bearing fully, the throwout bearing fully disengage. Also had a large air bubble, despite bleeding it multiple times, that would prevent the bearing from actually compressing, and a number of other things. So got that all sorted out. This thing moved under its own power for the first time in a year. Pretty stoked about that. I don't know if you can see that, but I can see my breath. So that means this season's pretty much over, unfortunately. But what a good time to start driving it in the snow. Nope, I got more projects, I guess, and we'll drive it in the spring. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.